importance in seeking justice through mediation. Ghana adopted the ADR in 2005 to utilize its benefits, which include reduced costs, less adversarial outcomes, and reduction in delays in the adjudication of cases in the judicial system. Supreme Courts, appeals courts, and High Court judges witnessed the launch of this year's ADR week. Also present was the Bono Regional Minister, Joseph Adai Akwabwa. The Chief Justice, Justice Paul Bafuboni, was hopeful this year's ADR week would deepen public understanding of the program and increase its utilization.
Between January and December 2025, a total of 7,324 cases were referred to the ADR across the country. Out of this number, 4,195 cases were successfully settled. These figures demonstrate the growing confidence that litigants, lawyers, and judicial officers have in the ADR system.
Judge in charge of ADR, Justice Angelina Mensah Homia, noted that technology has the potential to deepen the gains the system has made so far. She said virtual mediation has already started in Accra.
My Lord Chief Justice, going forward, it is highly recommended that the e-Justice initiative should be extended to ADR. The platform for the virtual courts could also be utilized for virtual mediation sessions. In my view, the adoption of technology in ADR is no longer a peripheral experiment. It is indeed the foundation of a modern, inclusive legal system.
ADR Week will feature a number of things, including a mass mediation exercise involving 138 courts in the country, comprising 35 circuit courts and 103 district courts.
The Criminal Court for Division of the High Court in Accra has ordered Mr. Bernard Ntwibo-Osiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, to open his defense in a case where he is accused of permitting two individuals to mine on his concession without ministerial approval. The directive followed the trial judge's ruling that the prosecution had presented sufficient rebuttal evidence against Wontumi and his company. Mr. Ntwibo-Osiako and Akonta Mining Company Limited are facing 6 counts, including allegations of allowing Henry Okum and Michael Jedu AEC to mine on the company's concession without prior authorization from the sector minister, as well as facilitating unlicensed mining activities.
On Monday, March 16, the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Mr. Bernard Ntwibo-Osiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, and his company, Akonta Mining Ghana Limited, were ordered by the High Court, Criminal Court 4 Division, to open their defense. The presiding judge, Justice Audrey Kokuvitei, ruled that under Section 7, Clause 4 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960 Act 30, the prosecution had presented sufficient evidence to establish a case against the accused persons. The court reminded Chairman Wontumi and Akonta Mining of their rights under the law to remain silent, testify or call witnesses, and asked them to consider their options. Counsel for the defense, Mr. Apia Tektu and the Apia Kubi, indicated that they would apply for the full ruling of the court for review before deciding whether to appeal. The prosecution opposed the request, urging the court to briefly stand the matter down to allow the defense to confer with their client. After hearing both sides, Justice Kokuvitei adjourned proceedings to March 26, by which time Wontumi is expected to decide on his course of action. During the trial, the prosecution called for 4 witnesses to testify. At the close of his case, Wontumi and his company, through their lawyers, filed a submission of no case, urging the High Court to acquit and discharge them. Lead counsel and the Apia Kubi argued that the Attorney General had failed to present sufficient evidence to justify calling the accused to open their defense. He maintained that the prosecution's case was fundamentally flawed, lacking proof of essential elements, and undermined by the quality and reliability of the evidence presented. The prosecution, led by Deputy Attorney General, opposed this argument. It contended that credible, admissible, and legally sufficient evidence had been produced on every element of the charges. This included documentary evidence establishing mineral rights and the absence of statutory approval, as well as witness testimony confirming active mining operations, machinery deployments, and gold extraction. According to the prosecution, this evidence demonstrated that Bernard Entubwe-Esiakon, also known as Wontumi, had a case to answer and must therefore be called upon to open his defense.
During his recent visit to South Korea, President John Mahama commissioned a new state-of-the-art liquefied petroleum gas vessel, describing it as a strategic asset to strengthen energy security and advance Africa's cleaner energy agenda. The vessel, MT Asharami Ghana, forms part of the West Africa Gas Limited Energy Initiative and is expected to enhance LPG supply chains, improve reliability, and support regional energy needs. In his remarks, President Mahama underscored LPG's importance as a cleaner alternative to traditional fuels, noting its role in reducing indoor air pollution and deforestation for millions of African households. He highlighted Ghana's reliance on imports for half of its LPG requirements and stressed that the new vessel would enable safe, efficient transport at scale. The commissioning, he said, reflects the value of innovation, investment, and international cooperation, standing as a symbol of progress toward a sustainable energy future for Ghana, West Africa, and the continent at large. To help us unpack the significance of the MT Asharami Ghana LPG vessel and to understand what this development means for Ghana's energy security and Africa's cleaner energy transition, we have been joined on the line by Mr. Derek Zache, researcher and policy lead at the Institute for Energy Security. Good afternoon, sir, and thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thanks for the opportunity.
Great. I hope you are fine.
I'm doing all right, God.
Great. I'm also blessed and highly favored. Do we know when the MT Asharami Ghana is expected to arrive in Ghana?
Hello?
Hello. Do we know when the vessel is expected to arrive in Ghana?
After when the vessel is supposed to or expected to arrive in Ghana, well, the timeline is not well known, but we expect it to be totally sure, maybe at the shores of Ghana. The reason being that we expect to increase our supply security when it comes to LPG. And we all know how LPG is important to the economy of Ghana, especially when we want to move from the usage of the charcoal, firewood, and the others. And then looking at the policy of the cylinder recirculation model, where it's supposed to improve the adoption or the usage of LPG in the various households by some magnitude, about 50% among Ghanaians. That means that we expect it to arrive within the shortest time.
Already are Ghana's ports, storage facilities, and distribution networks to handle the extra LPG volumes without any bottlenecks?
Yes, we do have the capacity to be able to handle it. Basically, Ghana is also becoming a hub for petroleum products. And so, in as much as you might say that there might be some congestions and other things, there has been some improved efficiency and the mechanism to be able to take care of all whatever thing that will be a delay when these vessels are supposed to arrive at the port. All those things, the MPA has strengthened mechanisms to be able to ensure safe delivery of this petroleum product and then the discharge of it, as well as to eliminate any kind of supply or logistical issues that might come into play.
Sir, how will the logistics savings from this vessel translate into, affordable LPG prices for households and businesses?
All right. So the first one is we're talking about affordability. Now, affordability without availability is not something that you can talk about. And so most times, the vessel, or let me say, the products might be available, but how affordable are they? It means that the mechanisms by which they get to the final consumer become very expensive. The efficiency of these ones is what will translate into the affordability at the let me say, the local points for the ordinary consumer to be able to purchase. And so, be as it may, sometimes it might not be available, but the more you have it with the capital injections and the infrastructure support, then we expect that the delivery of it will improve, and that will translate into affordability. And so going forward, we expect that with the needed capital injections and then efficiency, and then some mechanisms that are going to be put in place, we expect that they'll be able to operationalize at an efficient level, and that will translate into affordability for we the consumers.
Great. In the bigger picture, how does this vessel advance Africa's transition to cleaner energy and also reduce reliance on traditional fuels like charcoal and kerosene?
And so it's strengthening Ghana's position and then Africa's position. If you look at it, we are one of the continents that continues to make use of the charcoal and then continues to make use of firewood. It also causes environmental degradation when it comes to cutting down of trees. And then we see that even in Ghana, our green reserves are more or less being depleted. Sometimes because of galamsey, sometimes because of the charcoal and the using of the firewood and the others. Is the right reason why the cylinder recirculation model came into play, to be able to improve the adoption and the consumption of LPG among households. That becomes more cleaner, that becomes more safer, and then that becomes more environmentally friendly. And then aside it all, more affordable as compared to the others. And so when you have these available, then it means that the sub-region now begins to benefit from it. Before then, you'll be like, where is the availability? It might not be only Ghana that will benefit from it. Those in the sub-region continue to face even dire consequences, or let me say dire usage of the charcoal and then the firewood. If Ghana has even more improved. And so within the sub-regions, they can also rely on the next phase of Ghana, where they'll be able to have access to this cleaner petroleum, or let me say LPG product. With the coming on board of the Petroleum Hub Corporation project, what it means that Ghana now becomes a hub when it comes to petroleum products. And so we might even see more of these things, not only in the shores of Ghana, that is the Tema and the Takrady, we might even get to the other enclaves that we are looking at. And that makes Ghana a hub when it comes to the petroleum sector.
Great. Thank you very much for those valuable insights. We do appreciate your time. So we just heard from the researcher and policy lead at the Institute for Energy Security, Mr. Derek Zache, telling us about the significance of the MT Asharami Ghana LPG vessel that was commissioned by President Mahama in South Korea, and what this means for Ghana's energy security and Africa's cleaner energy transition. It's still the news right here on GBC News and on GTV. Also in this package, the Citizens Platform for Constitutional Reform has called on President Mahama to release the report of the Constitution Review Committee, which was submitted on December 22, 2025. Addressing a news conference in Accra, the CPCR argued that government's delay in publishing the report is denying citizens the right to contribute to shaping the Constitution, which governs them. The group also expressed concern over the president's failure to comment on the status of Professor Kwesi Prempeh's report during the State of the Nation address, describing the silence as troubling for a process meant to enhance democratic participation.
Year, chaired by Professor Kwesi Prempeh, to review and propose reforms that will enhance democratic governance and improve the functioning of state institutions. However, the final report from the review is yet to come to be made public, despite the presentation of the final report to the President in December 2025. Speaking at a press briefing, a representative of Organized Labour, Mr. Angel Kabonu, urged the CPRC not to limit its citizens' participation scope to only a few identifiable groups, but engage groups like market leaders and students in order to rope in everyone. Addressing the press, the chairperson of the Citizens Platform for Constitutional Reforms, Professor Akosua Dankwa, emphasized that the stance of government to constitute a Constitution Implementation Committee should not stop the release of the Professor Kwesi Prempeh's report, which Ghanaians are not privy to.
The publication of the CRC's full report is critical to creating transparency and informed public participation. Citizens must have access to the detailed reasoning and evidence behind the committee's recommendations. Without this, Meaningful public engagement in the next stage of the process will be limited. While it is understandable that the government may wish to present its own views on the recommendations, the release of a position paper must not delay the publication of the committee's full report. The report should be made public in its entirety now, so that citizens can independently examine the proposals and provide their views on the reform process.
The CPRC further contends that the government must, in the shortest time, come out with the roadmap regarding the implementation the committee intends to set up and their clear mandate and timelines.
At Techiman's Heroes Conference, DDP Thompson Ochokbo sounded the alarm. Prisons lack resources to rehabilitate inmates. No teaching or learning materials means missed opportunities. DDP Ochokbo called for support for the Think Prison 360 Degrees program. Samuel Ayama has more in this report.
The Think Prison 360 Degrees program is a total overhaul, improve welfare, boost agriculture, ignite industry, and forge partnerships. The goal is to turn prisons into hubs of rehabilitation and skills building. This is the plan, says DDP Thomas Ochokbo.
It redefines prisons as a center of hope, skills development, productivity, and reintegration rather than mere places of what? Detention.
In Bono Ahafo, inmates are trading confinement for skills. Fish farming, beekeeping, and poultry training are opening doors for employment and purpose. DDP Ochokbo's message is that society's support is key to successful reintegration. His appeal is for all to give ex-convicts a second chance.
The general public to reduce stigma and embrace reformed individuals as productive members of the society. When we support rehabilitation, we enhance public safety. When we invest in reform and we reduce crime. When we think prisons 360 degree, we build a safer Ghana.
The future of the Think Prison 360 Degrees initiative shines bright. Transform lives, rebuild futures, create safer communities. Ghana's future depends on investing in inmate rehabilitation, and the call is for all to rally behind this cause. Samuel Ayama, GBC News, Techiman.
The Ghana Meteorological Agency has installed an automatic weather station and launched a Green Climate Club at Methodist Girls High School in Manfi, Eastern Region. This initiative aims to strengthen climate education and raise weather awareness among students.
Methodist Girls High School at Manfi is now home to an automatic weather station, making it the second senior high school in Ghana to have this technology, following Achimota School in Accra. It's also the first in the Eastern region to benefit. The weather station is equipped with sensors that capture real-time weather data, including rainfall, temperature, and humidity, without manual measurement. Unlike traditional rain gauges, which require manual reading, the new system automatically detects raindrops and instantly records the amount of rainfall. Powered by solar panels, the equipment also includes a modem that transmits the data via mobile network towers to remote servers, where the information is stored and analyzed for forecasting and climate monitoring. Acting Deputy Director General in charge of operations at the Ghana Meteorological Agency, Mr. Ignatius Kweku Williams, explained that the project provides students studying geography and other science subjects with hands-on experience using the same instruments employed in weather monitoring and forecasting.
As we've come here today, they've had the chance to see both the manual stations and today what we've commissioned here being the automatic weather station. And they will be able to compare the parameters that each one is giving to them. And them also being girls, it becomes an avenue to also encourage them to take up some of these courses and interest in weather and climate services.
A Green Climate Club has been established at the school to foster discussions on climate change and environmental sustainability. Mr. John Sanders, the country representative for Veriground, the organization that supported the installation, noted that the weather station technology is designed to function even in areas without electricity.
This weather station was designed in the United States to be able to report the weather as it happens. What's interesting about it is that it doesn't require any type of infrastructure at all in terms of electrical grid or other things. All it needs is a cell phone tower, because there's a modem inside that will transmit the data that the onboard sensors collect.
Students and teachers of Methodist Girls High School expressed gratitude to the Ghana Meteorological Agency and its partners for this initiative and committed to properly maintaining the equipment to support learning and promote climate awareness.
In our Heritage Month series today, we look at the preparation of kakro. Kakro or kaklo is a scrumptious traditional Ghanaian snack made from very ripe plantain. Kaklo basically means fried in many Ghanaian languages. So, a recipe name mostly has the prefix kaklo if the dish is deep fried. For example, agbili kaklo is a popular fried snack made from grated cassava. Today, on our Heritage Month series, we'll take you through this simple recipe so delicious you have no option than ask for more.
With just a few ingredients and less cooking time, the preparation of kakro or kaklo is quite simple and straightforward. The main ingredients of this dish is overripe plantain. The other ingredients are ginger, onions, cayenne pepper, and salt. You also need all-purpose wheat flour. First, wash and peel plantain and put into a mortar. Grind or blend onions and ginger into a smooth texture. Add the mixture to the plantain in the mortar and pound till you obtain a lumpy mixture. Pour into a bowl, add a little bit of salt to taste, add the flour and mix well. The mixture must not be too thick. In a deep saucepan, heat a large volume of oil over medium heat. Fetch the mixture with your finger and roll into round balls and dip into hot oil. Fry on both sides until golden brown. When cooked, remove from the oil and put in a sieve or on paper towels to remove excess oil. Serve hot or warm. Kaklo is enjoyed as a snack or a light meal and often accompanied by a stew or sauce. Kakro, along with a spicy black eye bean stew, red and zomi, is a popular meal among Ghanaian workers as it provides energy sustainable throughout the day. Sometimes it is served as an appetizer or hors d'oeuvres.
So the news right here on GBC News and on GTV. Don't forget we're streaming live on Facebook at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Minority Leader in Parliament, Mr. Alexander Afenyo-Markin, has urged Ghanaian graduates to rethink their approach to employment by focusing on creating opportunities rather than relying solely on government and white-collar jobs. Speaking at the Beyond the Degree Conference 2026 at the University of Education, Winneba, the Efutu MP cautioned that the public sector is already overstretched and cannot absorb the growing number of graduates entering the job market each year. He encouraged students to embrace entrepreneurship innovation and skills development as alternative pathways to success, emphasizing that Ghana's future depends not only on job seekers but also on job creators.
Too often, many young people approach employment with a narrow expectation that success must come only through white-collar jobs. Some come to my office asking exclusively for employment at Bank of Ghana, Cocoa Board, GRA, VRA, among others. The government sector is choked. These institutions cannot absorb the thousands of graduates entering the job market every year. The future of Ghana cannot be built by job seekers alone. It must be built by job creators. I therefore call on government to put in place the necessary support systems to create opportunities that will enable the private sector to grow our economy. Perhaps I may have to remind all of you here that Bill Gates left Harvard University before completing his degree. I'm not saying abandon school. Yet he went on to build Microsoft. And we know of Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba Group. He was rejected from dozens of jobs, including a job at KFC. Yet he refused to allow rejection to define his future. Similarly, Steve Jobs, may God bless his soul, entrepreneurship, technical skills, digital innovation, agriculture, manufacturing, and creative economy all present opportunities for you to create value and build livelihoods. Those who rise to the challenge will not simply wait for opportunity. They will build it, shape it, and extend it to others. And it is precisely this kind of leadership that Ghana needs in a rapid, changing world.
The presence and operations of 10 mechanized battalion have contributed immensely to the maintenance of peace, stability, and security in the Upper West region. The regional minister, Charles Lawanga, made the statement assuring the battalion of the support and cooperation of the Regional Coordinating Council in performing its duties. It was during the induction of the commanding officer of the battalion, Lieutenant Colonel James Bampo Palmer at Wa. Swala Abdul Wahab reports.
Lieutenant Colonel James Bampo Palmer was commissioned into the Ghana Armed Forces in September 2006 as part of regular career course. He has distinguished himself as a disciplined, professional and dedicated servant of Ghana. Until his appointment as the commanding officer of the 10 Mechanized Battalion, he held positions including Assistant Director Operations at the General Headquarters and Commanding Officer, Headquarters Training and Doctrine Command.
My core values include the welfare of troops, respect for defense civilian staff, mutual respect among ourselves, professionalism, initiative, discipline, effective communication, commitment to force protection, and respect to local community.
Upper West Regional Minister Mr. Charles Lawanga Pozum entreated the commanding officer to serve with diligence and fairness.
Leadership is not only about authority, but also about service, integrity, humility, and commitment to the values that bind us together as a nation.
The General Officer commanding the Northern Command of the Ghana Armed Forces, Brigadier General Franklin Walanyo Agbebo, spoke about efforts being made to address challenges facing the 10 Mechanized Battalion.
The Chief of the Army Staff appreciates all the effort that we make every now and then, reading our CTREP every day. He calls to congratulate you for all the duties that you perform. CDS reads all our detailed CTREPs and is happy about the duties that we perform. And I must announce to you that the programs, the major program that you have laid before him, the completion of Water Statue Factory, he has provided the funds.
Lieutenant Colonel James Bampo Palmer takes over from Lieutenant Colonel Godfred Asampo. Swala Abdul Wahab, GBC News.
In solidarity with our Muslim compatriots in the holy month of Ramadan, the Minister for Local Government, Mr. Ahmed Ibrahim, has distributed food items to Muslim communities across the Greater Accra region ahead of Eid al-Fitr. He explained that the gesture is to ease the burden of fasting and support the faithful in observing and breaking their fast with dignity and communal care.
A delegation led by the minister, Mr. Ahmed Ibrahim, visited key Islamic institutions, including the Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission, the Ghana Muslim Mission, the Shia Community, Al-Sunnah, and the National Chief Imam. During the engagements, the minister presented essential food supplies such as rice and sugar, while urging the Muslim faithful to embody the core values of Ramadan, particularly unity, compassion, and a shared commitment to national progress.
After going through 30 days of fasting, it was a Obia reflected, how can I break these shackles of poverty? How can I emancipate or liberate myself? How can I lead an exemplary life? It is not just a matter of the Obi yebi binti mikoyebi. So na no for no na yemfa no entoms.
The National Chief Imam, on behalf of the Muslim community, conveyed profound gratitude, describing the gesture as timely and thoughtful. He also offered prayers for the well-being of the president and for peace, stability and prosperity of the country.
Let's be proud that we are those who are pious people. Whatever, mindful of what Allah does not like, and comply with what He has commanded. These are the things that we must be proud about.
The outreach underscores government's commitment to engaging faith-based institutions and responding to their needs in a manner that promotes inclusivity and social cohesion.
We are back with more stories. Please don't go away.
It's the FIFA World Cup. USA, Canada and Mexico 2026. The euphoria is mounting due to the expanded format, the countries hosting it, and of course, the stars to parade at the biggest world sporting event. The Road to the World Cup show is here to answer all your questions about the qualification format, the rationale behind the expansion in participating countries, and all other information around the FIFA World Cup 2026. Catch the Road to the FIFA World Cup 2026 show live on GTV Sports Plus every Tuesday, Thursday and Friday at 8 p.m. Seasoned sports stakeholders and stars will be engaged on the show to serve you the best FIFA World Cup details on the Road to the FIFA World Cup 2026 show. Remember, it's Tuesdays, Thursdays and Fridays at 8 p.m. Don't miss out. America, Canada and Mexico. Here we come.
You're welcome back. The Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, has expressed measured confidence in the nation's financial outlook, pointing to a banking sector that is stable, profitable and strongly capitalized, but still facing slow growth in lending. He highlighted a key concern shaping current policy debates, whether the showdown in credit is due to banks being cautious about lending or simply a lack of demand from borrowers.
Not only for financial stability, but also for the effectiveness of monetary policy, the extent to which changes in the policy rate translate into credit conditions for households and businesses. The data suggests that credit growth, however, remains subdued, and this may require further examination by the committee. For example, we need to evaluate whether the constraint is from the supply side, whether it's still on the side of banks in terms of their risk appetite. Is it because of the capital buffers they have to maintain? Is it because of the NPL ratios? Or is it from the demand side? which is on the side of the borrowing public in terms of weak borrower demand, etc. So, colleagues, in January, this committee was asked to exercise discipline in the face of improvement, to resist the temptation to declare victory prematurely. Colleagues, that discipline proved appropriate. But today, the judgment required is more complex. We must make our decision at the intersection of domestic success and external uncertainty, growing uncertainty. The question before the committee is not whether conditions have improved. They have indeed, significantly and across.
The Managing Director and the Chief Knowledge Officer of the World Bank, Mr. Pascal Donohoe, has lauded Ghana's efforts in ensuring the economy is hinged on technical and vocational education. According to him, Ghana should be upbeat in modernizing her educational structure to be abreast with the ever-evolving trends of work. He made this known in a meeting with the Educational Minister, Mr. Haruna Iddrisu, as part of his visit to Ghana.
The Managing Director and Chief Knowledge Officer of the World Bank Group, WBG, Mr. Pascal Donohoe, and the Minister for Education, Mr. Haruna Iddrisu, visited the Forces Senior High Technical School, FSHTS. The visit was to assess the technical vocational education and training TVET facilities at the school and engage management on ongoing educational initiatives. Mr. Donohoe spoke of the importance of technical and vocational education in the world of work.
We know that investment in children, investment in education, is not only an investment in them, it is an investment in the great future of this great country. And I wanted to come here to Ghana to see this project and to understand the impact that our work is having on their future.
The Minister for Education, Mr. Haruna Iddrisu, spoke of the importance Ghana places on strengthening technical and vocational education across the country.
We in Ghana, as many of you heard President Mahama at the State of the Nation address, we are beginning to realign our investment in education to focus more on foundational learning. If we want to get it right, we must get it right at the basic foundational learning.
The World Bank also urged Ghana to, as a matter of urgency, modernize the country's educational structure or experience a job crisis in the near future. The Managing Director made this remark during his visit to the University of Ghana. Mr. Donohoe stated that 1.2 billion young people in developing nations are expected to flood the labor market over the next decade, with many of them completely unprepared for the demands of the modern economy. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana is Professor Nana Abba Apia Amfu.
While education has expanded significantly in many countries, the transition from schooling to productive employment remains uncertain for millions of young people. Globally, the scale of this challenge is stark. In 2025, the International Labour Organization estimates indicate that about 262 million young people, roughly 1 in 4, are not in education, employment, or training needs, underscoring the urgency of aligning education systems with labor market opportunities.
According to the World Bank, to prevent millions of young Ghanaians from being left behind, the bank is pushing to prioritize technical training and employable skills that actually aligns with what employers need today.
The Ghana Civil Aviation Authority has launched a passenger complaints portal to help air passengers report grievances formally. The portal, which seeks to provide a safe and efficient way for passengers to resolve issues, unveiled during the World Consumer Rights Day celebration on the theme Safe Skies, Confident Passengers.
As part of a new initiative, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority outlined several types of complaints that passengers can report through the portal These include denied boarding, where passengers are refused travel despite holding valid tickets, flight cancellations that occur without adequate support to passengers, and flight delays. Other complaints include baggage loss or damage, where passengers arrive at their destination only to find their luggage lost, delayed or damaged, as well as cargo loss or damage involving packages that are delayed, misplaced or delivered in poor condition. Nevertheless, with this portal, passengers can also report cases of misleading advertisements by airlines or the persistent abuse of seating policies, including unfair seat allocation practices. Director General of GCAA, Stephen Wilfred Arthur, emphasized the authority's commitment to ensuring that passenger rights are protected while maintaining high standards of aviation safety and service delivery.
Between the year 2021 and last year, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority directly engaged over 60,000 passengers through education on passenger rights and on-site complaints resolution within our various airport terminals, and also whenever it was required, we ensured other regulatory interventions.
The Minister for Transport, Joseph Bukari Nikpe, commended the GCAA for introducing a system that empowers passengers and promotes confidence in air travel.
When passengers feel protected, respected, and fairly treated, they travel more. When they travel more, tourism grows, trade expands, investment flows, and jobs are created. In other words, a confident passenger strengthens the national economy.
Passengers are expected to first submit complaints directly to the airline or tour operator, but if the issue remains unresolved, the complaint can be sent to GCAA Customer Protection Desk or submitted directly to the Passenger Complaints Portal.
And Ghana and Togo have reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening cross-border trade following a high-level ministerial meeting and handing over ceremony at the Akanu-Nuepe joint border post.
The meeting brought together officials from both countries, including members of the National Trade Facilitation Committees and border management agencies, to discuss ways of improving efficiency and reducing delays at the key crossing points. Ghana's delegation was led by Trade, Agribusiness and Industry Minister Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare, while Togo was represented by its Minister for Economy and Strategic Monitoring in charge of Commerce, Badanam Patoki. Speaking at the meeting, Madame Ofosu-Adjare stressed the need for stronger collaboration between the two countries, noting that effective border management is critical to reducing trade bottlenecks and boosting economic activity.
What we are saying is that the government of Ghana and Togo are grateful to them. We also want to encourage users of these facilities, the toilet, the electricity, the walkway, to use it prudently. And we want this place to be a place for trade facilitating, not a border to create problems.
Madame Ofosu-Adjare also reaffirmed Ghana's commitment to working closely with Togo to streamline customs procedures, enhance interagency coordination, and introduce digital systems to speed up the movement of goods and travelers.
We are looking forward to an improved situation at this border where people don't take too much time, where documentations are done on time, where unnecessary bureaucracy is a thing of the past, where people choose as a preference. And so we want this to be a shining example for the whole of Africa.
Her Togolese counterpart described the Akanu-Nuepe joint border post as a major milestone in deepening economic cooperation, emphasizing that coordinated border operations and institutional collaboration are key to improving the business environment along the corridor. The Akanu-Nuepe joint border post is expected to play a vital role in facilitating trade along the busy West African transport corridor and strengthening economic ties between the two countries. A joint technical team is expected to submit recommendations to the sector ministers within 2 weeks to guide the smooth operation and maintenance of the facility.
We go straight to Nigeria, and Bola Tinubu, Nigeria's president, has pledged to step up security operations following a wave of deadly attacks in the northeastern city of Maiduguri. He issued this information on his ex-official account on Tuesday following an overnight suicide bomb attack in Maiduguri. He also expressed condolences to victims and their families. President Tinubu said the government would intensify efforts to dismantle armed groups across the country and praised troops for repelling coordinated assaults on military positions in Maiduguri, the capital of Borno State. The president added that additional military equipment and operational support had been approved and ordered top security officials to relocate to Maiduguri to oversee the response. Emergency agencies have also been mobilized to assist victims. The attacks, which occurred on Monday evening, targeted busy areas including a market, a post office vicinity, and the entrance to a teaching hospital, according to officials. The Nigerian military warned that suspected militants linked to Boko Haram may have deployed multiple suicide bombers into the city, urging residents to avoid crowded places and remain vigilant. And in the world of sports, the technical handlers of the senior national male football team, the Black Stars, led by Otto Addo, has handed debut call-ups to 4 players: Derek Lucasen, Patrick Fefa, Marvin Senyanya, and Daniel Ajay, for this month's international friendlies against Austria and Germany. The quartet are part of the 26-man squad for the 2 crucial pre-FIFA World Cup preparatory matches.
The 26-man squad includes goalkeepers Lawrence Atizigi, Benjamin Asari and Joseph Anan, Patrick Pfeiffer, Derek Lakasen, Derek Kohn, Jerome Opoku, Caleb Yerinchi, Kojo Opon Pepra, Jonas Ajeti, Marvin Senaya, Alexander Jiku, and Gideon Menta. Midfielders are Thomas Partey, Elisha Wusu, Ibrahim Suleimana, and Kwesi Sibo. Forwards: Brandon Thomas Asante, Jordan Ayew, Prince Edu, Christopher Bonsuba, Fatal Abdul Isahaku, Inaki Williams, Antoine Semenyo, Kamal Din Suleimana, and Daniel Ajay. The Black Stars will play Austria in Vienna on March 27 before traveling to Stuttgart to face Germany on March 30, 2026. The games will be live on GTV Sports Plus.
And finally, in this package, Thy Favor, the popular hit maker behind Plans, performed one of his new singles, A Lot, during an up-close interview on the Spectacles show. During the interview, Thy Favor shared his experience and insights into his music journey. He opened up about the inspiration and meaning behind one of his tracks, giving fans a deeper connection to his sounds and lyrics.
Table be si one headset baako si ho na we si ho ba kakra na me de sha ase na me hwe ha wa ma femu a me de abeduru ana enye de enafo so obi ono ma se mic na me to a mic no me ko ye mesin ejuma label kakra on na makoye ejuma kakra na mabobo scanner so mic na me to na ma to mic na to on so me to mic na to obi o ho a who say me waste sika but meaning the na me yeden me yes a sound card no matter sound card so me yes ana me to turn back so me to we na me sha se den esua me ya na ma record me ho so me ya na ma bachelor ebi mu so me bachelor ho a go to me ka se ase me yen shada anti beat na no edin sin we no ye na ma san ko sua de na ma yes an class na me di name man am de do ase in my ear. Some say much they try. You didn't cry. Want some crying to me, eh? Now if you're before. Moon him the free to the bank, I'm a shed that yet. Ode usakamia, usakanyamyo. Mini Ethiopia, mini Bansribia, Nyami wo, any hoa. Mini Ethiopia, mini Bansribia, Nyami wo, any hoa.
And that's how we draw the curtains on this afternoon's edition. Many thanks for your company. I am Somiela Kwote. Have a good afternoon.
Ghanaian startups and AI techs are harnessing AI and big data to revolutionize public health, predicting outcomes, automating diagnostics, and digitizing records. These innovations hold immense potential for Ghana's healthcare, offering improved access, accuracy, and outcomes that could be a game changer for the country's health future. One such startup or health tech is Mino Health AI, a growing AI health tech company currently in Ghana, which is broadly exploring AI and exponential technologies in healthcare in the area of AI and big data in healthcare systems. Darlington Akogo, a global leader in AI, is one of AI gems currently in Ghana in the area of artificial intelligence and big data. He explains what AI is all about and how to leverage it in the area of healthcare and big data.
The whole goal of AI is that how do we take this intelligence that we see in humans, but not limited to just humans, even in animals, and embed it in machines. So that's the central goal of AI. And the big data part, essentially, we're doing something called machine learning, which means that we want to teach machines the ability to learn from data and be able to perform tasks. So essentially with big data, the goal is being able to accumulate large enough data in journalism, in medicine, in biology, and then using it to train AI systems. And in healthcare, essentially, once you do that, you can have AI systems that can diagnose diseases. You can even have AI systems that would design new drugs. So that encapsulates AI and then big data too as well.
Ghana's healthcare sector faces challenges like inconsistent records and delayed diagnosis. AI and big data can bridge these gaps by enabling faster and data-driven.
You look at the numbers in healthcare. Globally, we have a shortage of 40 million health workers if we want to achieve universal health coverage, which is part of the SDG goals, which we only have 5 years for. So in 5 years, we have to create 40 million health workers. It's not feasible because training 40 million health workers around the world, medical school is no joke. In addition, if you come to our side of the world, it's actually quite scary, the numbers. In Ghana, our doctor to patient ratio used to be 1 doctor to every 10,000. Now it's improved, it's like 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, depending on the source. That's not the worst. The worst is Malawi, is 1 doctor to every 60,000 people. So how do we expect, this people that have dedicated their life to saving the rest of us, keeping us alive? How do you expect one person to manage the health of 60,000 people? In Ghana, for example, if you take radiology, we only have 100 radiologists in the entire country. So that's one radiologist for about 300,000 people. So looking at all these numbers, training doctors is essential, but that hasn't solved the problem. And so the whole goal with Mino Health AI Labs is, can we train AI systems to perform really well across different tasks in the healthcare pipeline, and then have those AI systems serve as medical assistant to the few existing specialists, general practitioners, health workers that we have both in Ghana, in Africa, and globally.
Big data encompasses vast information from clinics, hospitals, apps, surveys, and weather patterns. Artificial intelligence, AI, leverages machine learning algorithms to analyze this data, identify trends, predicting outcomes, and informing decision making.
So we have essentially this generative AI system called Moremi AI. Moremi AI is a general purpose AI system for healthcare and biology. What that means is that within one AI system, you're looking at hundreds and even possibly thousands of tasks. So the AI system can do radiology, as we talked about. You can look at over almost all the imaging modalities you find in radiology. It can write medical reports for them. So you can give it a mammogram to generate a medical report for you. You can give it an X-ray, CT scan, ultrasound to do that. Then you can go into microscopy. So for example, for certain diseases, we need to take blood samples, put it under a microscope. The AI system can analyze that microscope. Do you want to detect malaria, sickle cell, or is this some other hematological or blood-related disease you want to detect? The AI system can help you do that. Across different modalities, imaging modalities, about 30, we can process lab data, we can process text, we can process your medical record, do all of this to be able to perform screening, diagnosis, and then prognose, triage. So we can tell not only what you have now, we can focus what you might develop down the line. We can say if you've already developed this, what is it going to look like in the coming weeks, months, or years? How is it going to progress? Or if you have too many diseased people, we can have the AI system do the analysis and tell you whose own is much more severe and need to be prioritized. And this is all just under healthcare. We can do this for communicable, non-communicable diseases. Then if you go into biology, the AI system can help you design new drugs. So you can use it to create both what we call drugs, antibodies, and vaccines. So the entire process, and there's so many things that goes on in there, is all done by the AI system in a very automated, autonomous fashion. So yeah, that's even all what I've said is still just a fraction of everything the AI system can do.
Like Mino Health AI Lab, a pioneering Ghanaian healthcare startup which is harnessing AI to predict diseases, diagnose and recommend actions. It is based in Accra's Kwabenya suburb. The company uses AI-powered image recognition tools to support diagnosis in clinics and hospitals, including the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital.
Yeah, with Korle Bu, the main details was we did an early pilot with them before we actually rolled out the system. So we gave it mainly to the radiologists to see based on what they were personally detecting versus what the AI system was detecting. And then we actually put together a paper. So in the paper, we took data from a couple of facilities. We have a couple of radiologists from Korle Bu, but also other institutions that were involved in it, like University of Ghana Medical School and some private facilities. When we tested the performance of the AI system, we actually realized that this is a different version, so a different version than what we currently have, but essentially the performance matched a group of radiologists working together. So if you put together 4 radiologists, you get the AI system matching their performance. That is what we got. And we didn't even limit it to just data from Ghana or just working. We even took data from, Vietnam and also the US, combined it and then tested it with the specialists that you have at Korle Bu, University of Ghana Medical School, and then a bunch of in different countries, in different hospitals. So it's very much already here. The way it helps with the public health sector essentially is that is where the need is even greater. If, for example, you go take a mammogram, if you do this in a private hospital and you go to a diagnosis center, a private one, you might be able to get your results maybe even the same day in Accra, right? Once you move away from Accra, it gets a bit more difficult. In the public health system, if you go to some of our largest public health hospitals like Kolebu, due to no fault of the facility and the people in there, it's just they're overwhelmed. You're looking at that taking you several days to weeks before you ever see your report. And for certain things that are life-threatening like cancer, delays are dangerous. So with the AI system sitting within public health facilities, we can make it so that essentially that instead of the days to weeks, the AI system can spend just seconds to detect that. That's what it currently does. In less than 5 seconds, you get a medical report. And the pricing is also reduced, which means that the burden of public health to the country reduces.
Ghana's public hospitals still rely on paper records, but startups like Mino Health is digitizing healthcare with AI-powered electronic health records. Mino Health is collaborating with the Ghana Health Service to leverage big data, reduce cost, and improve diagnosis and outcome.
This is essentially the new normal. So if you're a young person, you're not taking advantage of it, you'll be made so obsolete. It's going to be quite scary. Right? Like, we are seeing this happen in every field. No field is spared. We are seeing this happen in media. There are videos being generated by AI system, there are photos. Even those who are building the AI system, we are seeing it happen. We now have AI systems that can write code to build other AI systems. So if you're not using AI systems, essentially you'll be removed from the ecosystem. Which is why, as part of the national AI strategy, we're saying that we have to aggressively train young people within the country. I think we already have the 1 Million Coders Initiative, which is amazing. That's impressive. We need to embed this into our curriculum from a young age. You don't need to wait for people to get to the university, because essentially they are going to grow up, or they are going to enter into a world which is AI everywhere. So even if it's primary school, you don't need to learn how to start building AI systems in primary school, even though there are ways you can teach that. But at least let them start understanding the concept of AI, learning how to use AI primary school. By the time they get to junior high, senior high, they are well versed and they can become globally competitive.
Mino Health platform is expanding into quite a number of things across the healthcare space, which include radiology, ophthalmology, microscopy, hematology, oncology, and to the discovery of clinical genomics that takes a patient's sequence data, that is information about genomics. However, challenges persist, including limited internet access, inconsistent electricity, and digital literacy gaps.
Even for us, every time we discover new things, not too long ago, we discovered clinical genomics, which means that if we can take your sequence data, information about your genetics, pass it to the AI system, it can process it and then tell you, for example, your likelihood of developing certain things, certain specific cancers. What is, you can say, for example, there's a 70% chance you develop this type of cancer within the next 10 years, and then come up with recommendations on how to reduce that risk. All of those within the same AI system. So it's quite vast, the different things that we cover. We're even working on a new version of the AI system that would be even much more powerful than what we have. So on the technical side, definitely we'll keep improving the AI system. We want to get to a point where the AI system can be trusted. Like right now, it needs supervision, but there are certain parts of the world where there's even no one to supervise that AI system. Whatever we are talking about, it always comes back to, you know, electricity and internet, right? Because those are the infrastructure within which the modern economy is built on top of. You can sort of hack your way around it, but it doesn't solve the solution. So,
additionally, AI solutions raise critical concerns about data privacy, security, biases and ethics that must be addressed.
Ethics matters a lot. And so if you have powerful technology, usually they can be dual use, which means double-edged sword, for good and for bad. So you need to put in measures to make sure they are not abused. So there are data protection laws in the country. We abide by them, heavily compliant with them, certified by them. You also look at ethical frameworks that you adopt. We both work with different institutions globally, even with the UN, to look at designing frameworks when it comes to ethics regulation for AI, and then we definitely implement those. Ghana is actually very developed when it comes to regulation. So our FDA is level 3 or level 4, one of the highest within the African continent. Policy is a different, and we need to be much more aggressive in our adoption of technology. Ghana Health Service has been doing quite a lot of work when it comes to adoption of technology. Yeah, it's impressive, but then also we need to be much more ambitious when it comes to things like AI, which is what we are currently working on with some of the departments within Ghana Health Service. If hospitals want to adopt solutions that will actually save lives, the government could offer them subsidies, but that's just one idea. We could essentially come up with strategies that say that in the next 10 years, we want to make sure that every public health facility within the country, one has access to internet and is using AI systems.
Ghana is emerging as a health tech hub in Africa, driven by institutions like KNUST's Responsible AI Lab, growing development communities, and government support. AI techs like Mino Health AI Lab is pioneering local solutions that can drive lasting impacts.
Essentially, people adopt what they need or what they want. If they don't want it, you know. No matter how much you spend on it, it will just die out. They will stop using it, they won't use it. So definitely having communities, local communities, tell us what they need is an essential way of achieving this. But also, it needs to be a blend of patients, but also the health workers. Because if you ask anyone, what do you need within healthcare, they will give you the perspective from a patient, which is important. But we also need to listen to our health workers, because they know more about our health than even we do. So for example, we do a lot of work engaging with health workers. Almost everything we do over here, we always contact health workers, medical doctors, specialists to check it out, to let us know if this is the right thing before we even proceed with it. But yes, I agree, because if you don't do that, in the past, what used to happen is that development partners will just take some solution from Europe or America and come and dump it here and expect us to. First of all, it doesn't even solve our problem because it's not fine-tuned to our needs. There's also the capacity aspect of it, right? We don't build any capacity, we are only recipients. So yes, making sure that we have the local community involved and influencing what we want as a country in AI is of the utmost importance.
With strategic partnerships, Ghanaian AI startups can tackle the country's toughest health challenges and potentially create scalable modules for the rest of Africa.
In the next 5 years, definitely by then, we should have progress enough with Ghana Health Service. I would personally want to see in the next 5 years that AI is being used entirely across our public health centers, right? We shouldn't have any public facility in 5 years that one way or the other is not leveraging AI to improve the quality, access, and affordability of healthcare to Ghanaians. So definitely in 5 years, we should be able to close that gap. In 10 years from there, the technology should become so advanced that we can have AI systems essentially even in the tiniest of health facilities in the remotest part of the country, but also even going beyond that to the point where they are now sitting directly with the patient and helping them. So it's kind of like in certain sectors, a supervisor sits back and you have a dashboard that will show you everything that is happening in all your centers. healthcare should come to a point where it's something close to that in 10 years. You have the AI systems. Essentially, all of us have our AI systems with us. They're checking your health, improving your health. And then you can have medical personnel sit back and then just look at the summary of all this data. If anything is flagged, then that will be addressed. If not, let the AI system continue its work. So there's no limit to how far the technology can actually go within the country. And I have no doubt that in 10 years, we should be able to get there.
AI solutions in Ghana's healthcare require a balanced approach, combining innovation with ethics, infrastructure, and inclusive policy. When harnessed effectively, technology can help leapfrog traditional barriers, enabling timely diagnosis, efficient treatment, and reduce healthcare costs.
A deaf individual seeking to install an electricity meter for his carpentry shop was faced with a frustrating challenge. Unable to communicate effectively with the Electricity Company of Ghana ECG staff due to the absence of sign language interpreters on both sides, ECG relied on written notes to convey their message to the customer. This encounter highlights the significant barriers that people with hearing impairments face in accessing essential services despite the growing demand for inclusivity.
I'm just supposed to get all these things first before I can get the meter for my shop, and then I can start working. So right now, when I get the money, I will now start preparing for it and then maybe get someone to do the calls for me so that I can get the meter. But right now, I don't have the money yet. I'm not going to get the money.
The struggles of accessing basic services are a daily reality for Ghana's deaf and hard of hearing community. According to the 2021 Population and Housing Census, 470,737 Ghanaians are living with some degree of hearing loss. This breaks down into 385,794 individuals with some difficulty hearing, 665,495 with significant hearing difficulty, and 19,448 who are completely unable to hear. For many, sign language is the primary means of communication from birth, serving as their first language. Some learn it in school, while others develop their own signs and gestures based on their environment and community.
I learned sign language when I was a bit older because I wasn't born deaf. I was a hearing person. I think when I became 12, at age 12, 13, that was why I became deaf. I started learning sign language. But for a deaf child, if the child was born deaf, the best way is that the child should know sign language from birth. Because if the parents know sign language, then from day one, they'll be able to teach the child will be able to pick up sign language till he grows up. But unfortunately for some, in our communities today, where a hearing person gives birth to a deaf person, the person doesn't learn sign language on time. So the time that the person will learn sign language, that will be the time when the person have gone to the deaf school. So it means that they've already passed the language acquisition age. So, and also too, for instance, me being a deaf person, if I give birth to hearing kids, my kids learn sign language from day one, even though they are hearing, because that is the only language that they can communicate with to their parent. I remember in 1996 when I became deaf, I had to change my world. You know, I was in the hearing world. I have to change into the deaf world. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. I spent a lot of time. You know, I felt very different because I didn't know anything about the deaf community. I was a hearing person. I became deaf. I felt like I was in between the hearing and the deaf community. It took me 2, 3, 4 months before I was able to pick up sign language. There are some people who join the deaf community and within 1 week, 2 weeks, they can sign. But unfortunately, some of us, it wasn't like that. It took a long time for me. It took me like a very long time before I could use sign language. It wasn't a pleasant experience. But it was a new environment to me, and I was finding it difficult to fit in. But now, I am 100% immersed in sign language.
Whether born deaf or experiencing hearing loss later in life, the common challenge remains navigating everyday life without barriers. For both groups, overcoming communication obstacles is key to achieving their goals and living fulfilling lives. In the bustling Mokola market in Accra, 3 deaf individuals have carved out a niche for themselves as car park attendants. Ibrahim Bawa Muhammad, who secured the job over 20 years ago, paved the way for his 2 other colleagues, demonstrating the power of inclusion and support within the community.
Started working 1998. That's when I started working.
Despite having over a decade of experience in their roles, the other 2 car park attendants still face significant challenges due to communication barriers which hinder their interaction with clients and colleagues.
Because the people that I work for do not know sign language, we use gestures. So when I come and they are communicating, we just use gestures. Maybe do this, do that, and I look at what the gestures are doing, and that helps me understand what they are doing. So sometimes I just have to watch, and then once I get the understanding, it sticks. So I just go with that. But it's a new person that I've never met with. Maybe I won't be able to communicate. I just have to talk to people that I'm already familiar with. So because they have a way of talking to me, and that's how I'm able to understand.
Despite the challenges, the trio has successfully adapted to their roles, developing their own ways to interact with customers and market women. The market women have grown accustomed to communicating with them, sharing insights into their daily interactions.
Sebi o me mako school kakra nti no se oye sign na mante ase a na wa tro won ha nti me so no se bibi na se me so me ka no nte ase a na me so ma tro wa ha no nti the moment I say me tro ape no ohun dia me pese me ka no
me sometimes se bi wa mo ya mete se no ma tana che nti bi wa ho mo ya mete ase e ma wo di bibi wa na se o kana enye yi a menti ase obetro fom na me hu de o ka enti me so bibi wa na se me so menti ase a me so me tro a no so hu de me ka.
Sign language education was first introduced in Ghana in 1957 by expatriate Dr. Foster Andrew. However, it wasn't until much later that further efforts were made to deepen the teaching and learning of sign language within the deaf community to build on Dr. Andrew's pioneering work. "68 years after sign language was introduced in Ghana, its integration into the country's cultural identity remains a slow and ongoing process. The Ghana National Association of the Deaf is advocating for greater inclusivity and acceptance of deaf individuals in Ghanaian society through the promotion and learning of sign language.
We've advocated with different stakeholders, for example, Ministry of Education, the Ghana Health Service, and other big institutions, University of Education, Winneba, UCC, and all that. And the purpose is that we want to have good teachers who can teach kids sign language in the deaf school so that they can grow up and then have access to their education, their healthcare.
My search took me to the Church of Christ in Saum Road at Circle in Accra, which for over 4 decades has incorporated sign language into their service, meeting the spiritual needs of deaf persons.
We walk on tongues to wear the crown. We walk on tongues to wear the crown. That is how Jesus had to bear the thorns in order to attain the crown. Ni di enimo ba ne de onyame nko a enenim.